What is up, New York Liberty fans? I am Kenny Saintville, and I'm joined by my guy Alford Corriette of Her Hoop Stats. This is NYLFTV. The New York Liberty defeat the Dallas Wings 87-75. A typical payback game, you would say. The last time they saw Dallas won by as much as, well, they were up by as much as 30 points,
Sure.
but the New York Liberty fell. And today was a huge game. Let's talk about this one, Al, because it was a breakout game for Emma Mieseman at her home debut, and
Indeed.
Stephanie Talbot. She had a real big game.
Indeed.
Let's talk about it. What did we see today from Liberty?
Yeah, so I think we saw a Liberty team that was clicking offensively. You know, you talk about the assists. We're looking at 25 assists, but just 8 turnovers for the game. So I think you really saw a great ball movement, and that's something that Coach Brandello has stressed, is sharing the ball and making sure that the ball doesn't stick. You talked about Emma Mieseman. What a home debut for her. In the starting lineup. Crowd goes wild for her in the starting. As she's announced in the starting lineup, she goes off. She has a couple of shots, especially on the pick and pops. Her passing was something that we saw finding cutters, finding curlers today. And then you talk about Steph Talbot. Had to get a little bit of a lick back after getting a little bit crossed by Paige Beckers. But Stephanie Talbot was huge for New York in the fourth quarter. Just an explosion of points. You're talking about threes, just one after the other, just big shots, but then also working hard on the defensive end. And I think that kind of exemplifies what you want from a New York Liberty player, that even if you may have a low moment or have a rough patch, that to still persevere and really help your team win.
And I think Natasha Cloud made a really good point in the scrum about the position that Stephanie Talbot's been in.
Yes.
It's such a unique and difficult position to be in, mid-season with all of these changes going through and just being thrown into the water. And she's done a phenomenal job. She's been taking a lot of heat online, and this was definitely a breakout game that she needed. She had her own personal 8-0 run in that fourth quarter. She finished the game with, 13 points?
Yeah.
Phenomenal play off the bench. She was a +8 on the field. And speaking about Emma Mieseman is such a skillful basketball player. There's so much that she does. And, in her debut, we won against Connecticut. She also started that game as well. And I think it just goes to show you how skillful and how trusted she is for her to come into a new team, a new system, and just get the start right away, and just put in those minutes. But we also have to speak about another person, the German assassin, Leonie Fiebich, who kind of, just had a phenomenal game. She started the game, started the first quarter with 4 points, really aggressive, got to the line. She shot 5 of 7 for the field, finished the game with 14 points. What do you see from Leo right now, especially with her going through that hand injury that she's been dealing with? It's been a little bit difficult for her these last couple games.
Yeah, so I think, with that, sometimes you just have to find other ways to be impactful on the floor, whether it's defending. I mean, tonight Leo had, 4 assists?
Yeah.
So I think you see the ways that, Leonie can impact the basketball floor if maybe her shot isn't falling right away. Sometimes it just takes these little moments just to fire a little bit spark, and then once you see that first shot go down, okay, you can really make things happen. But I think, Leonie's found different ways. We've seen her score in different ways. Last year I think we primarily saw her as a three-point shooter. But we're seeing things now from her. We're seeing her drive. We're seeing her do turnaround fadeaways in the season. And I think you're really beginning to see more and more layers of Leonie Fiebich. It's kind of like peeling away at an onion. There's just more layers of Leonie Fiebich that we see. And I think Liberty fans have to like that, because we're just getting a feel of what Leonie Fiebich can be in this league.
Yeah, and Stewie kind of tried to warn us early in the season. She said Leo has a bag, and and Leo's showing her bag, and that one of her first bucket of the game, using a JJ screen, getting Paige into JJ, and kind of just attacking the basket, finishing with the left was a huge bucket. We want to also take some time to just kind of highlight the others. The others, just did a phenomenal job. What did you see from the bench play? What did you think about the bench play overall today?
Yeah, I think the bench play was good. I think we talked about Steph Talbot. Rebecca Gardner is someone that deserves a ton of props. Someone that initially came to New York not necessarily expecting to have as big of a role as she did with the injuries. It took a little bit of an adjustment period, but since adjusting, she's found her footing and she's been pretty solid for New York. New York's needed that extra post depth, someone that has that size at 6'3", but is also a big body in her own right that can defend and will actually work and will actually make things tough for opponents. But then also just some of her rim finishing this season has been great to see. Izzy going up against strength and actually finishing through that contact. That's been big for the Liberty at times. And just her movement on the floor, she has been great. Marine Johannes, maybe not as a Marine Johannes game that we expect, but she was still able to have her contributions. And I think you're seeing the depth of what this Liberty team is.
Yeah.
And I think, to see them starting to click with Emma, with all these pieces is great. Now it's okay, how does the team look like when you're adding multiple time MVP and Brianna to it when she gets back? When you add Niara Sabali back, when you add a possible sixth player of the year in Kennedy Berg back, I think it's an exciting time, moving forward to see how all this comes together.
And they've yet to get a full practice in yet.
Exactly.
Correct, yeah. So they've yet to get a full practice in, but what you're seeing is some skillful, phenomenal, high IQ basketball players go to work. And it doesn't always work when you put together such a big team like this with all of these powerhouse names, but one thing that I see is unselfish players who really, really want to win. And I love that about this team, and I love that about the makeup. I know we're pressed for time because Al got to get on the train. I got to get home and everything like that too. But again, I do want to highlight some key takeaways. 5 Liberty players scoring double figures. Nobody played over 30 minutes. I mean, technically 30 minutes and 50 seconds, 30 minutes and 4 seconds with Sab and Tosh. But 30 minutes, nobody playing over that. I think that was pretty key. Do you have any other key takeaways from this game?
Yeah, I think the key takeaway from this game is that, this is a team that's gotten a chance to come back home, to come back in an element that they're comfortable in. And I think we have to give a shout out to the Liberty fans because they've been such a pivotal piece of the Liberty at home this season, to where sometimes when the Liberty are falling behind, all it takes is the big three or big shot, and that Liberty crowd erupts, and you can feel it throughout the arena, and you can see the players feeling it on the court. You can see times when that Liberty crowd goes up, you see it's like Tosh has an extra gear just dribbling down the court. It's energizing her. 100%. It's energizing Sabrina to want to make a big three. It's energizing JJ to make big plays.
100%.
So definitely a shout out to the Liberty fans that pack this building whenever they have a game.
Yeah, 16,000, and I think 16,645 in attendance tonight. Could be around that. I still think that's off. It always feels like 17K
it feels like
plus.
17.
It always feels that way, but again, just like Al did, have to shout out the Liberty fans, not just for tonight, not just for what the Liberty fans have been doing on a nightly basis, but I also have to shout out the New York Liberty Twitter fan base. The New York Liberty Twitter fan base is absolutely amazing. It's constantly growing. There's so many different faces just coming in there in the space, just talking about the Libs, talking about Seafoam, talking about the WNBA, especially during a tough time of a losing streak, losing pieces. Liberty fans have definitely been on it and have stuck behind this team, so we definitely have to shout them out 100%. Again, the Liberty win 85-76 and defeat the Dallas Wings. They move to 19-10, stay in that second spot. Next game is Friday, again against the Dallas Wings in Dallas. I don't understand the schedule, but hey, we'll take it for what it is. I am Kenny St. Ville, and this is
Alford Corriette.
Peace.